Why is it important to consider medical explanations while investigating the paranormal? Let's find out right now on What the Fetch. Hey Weirdos, I'm Grant. As a paranormal investigator, more often than not, most paranormal claims are not paranormal. Sometimes they could be a draft, bad plumbing, thin walls, etc., and sometimes they can even be due to medical issues. In fact, some of the most amazing claims I've received of the paranormal have turned out to be due to mundane medical or psychological conditions. You see, many medical conditions have symptoms that mirror paranormal activity. Now, the goal of this video is not to address those specific medical conditions. It's to address why considering medical explanations during paranormal investigations is important. I'll cover some of the more common medical conditions in their own videos. Now, our bodies are quite mysterious machines. They work pretty well most of the time, but every once in a while, things go wrong. And when they do, we may experience strange things, like hearing noises other people can't hear, or seeing people who aren't there. Maybe you'll feel like you're being tormented by some strange dark creatures. Or maybe you're even seeing another you following you around all the time. And that's just the beginning. Our brains trick us constantly, every day. Because of this overlap, it's imperative that we look to the medical field for answers before jumping to the paranormal. Now, back in the old days, people with conditions like autism, epilepsy, PTSD, etc. were viewed as being possessed by demons. That lack of knowledge caused people with those conditions to be ostracized, shunned, hidden, and sometimes even tortured or killed. Now, we can't really blame our ancestors for behaving that way. They simply didn't have the information to be able to think it was something else. But nevertheless, ignorance led them to treating these poor troubled souls in ways that not only didn't help them, but drastically exacerbated those conditions. This is the root of the modern problem. People are still of the old mindset somewhat. They see someone doing something that appears to be paranormal, and instead of starting on Earth, they jump right to the supernatural, completely ignoring a real medical condition, and in turn, making that condition worse. All because they're too busy trying to capture paranormal activity, or unknowingly using that person's medical condition to live in a world where their own paranormal fantasies appear real. Now, when dealing with a client, it's important to get a sense of their medical landscape. I always ask up front about their known medical problems. I also ask if I can see and take note of all of their medications. Of course, I let them know that sharing that information is completely up to them, and they have every right to say no. But having this information has allowed me to help so many people identify serious medical problems that weren't paranormal at all. I've been called into case after case where parents believe their children are possessed or tormented by demons, only to find out they were bipolar or had mild schizophrenia or were hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields. And the parents simply didn't know what to look for. And that's the key, knowing what to look for. Now, don't worry guys, as a paranormal investigator, no one is expecting you to know every medical condition, unless of course you happen to also be a doctor. As specific situations arise, you'll slowly learn what to look for over time. And it's always a good idea to build a relationship with licensed medical and psychiatric professionals who can help you recognize symptoms. And recognizing symptoms brings us to the most important part of this video. Recognizing symptoms is all you're allowed to do, legally speaking. You cannot diagnose a client. I repeat, you cannot diagnose a client. I mean, if you want to be sued or thrown in jail, go right ahead. For example, do not say things like, "Okay, your child is schizophrenic. He should be taking this medicine. Do that and all will be well." Yikes! Even if you are a licensed doctor, this is not the time or place for that. Just imagine what would happen if the client followed your advice, took the medicine, and died. Dangerous stuff. I mean, we've all seen those pharmaceutical commercials, right? Where they talk about the benefits for like 10 seconds and then spend the next minute and a half explaining all the ways it's going to kill you. Do you have dry, itchy eyes? Take Try Not to Die. May cause nausea, diarrhea, blood clotting, cross-eye, narcolepsy, epilepsy, paraplegia, full lymphatic shutdown, strokes, kidney failure, epic flatulence, and even death. Finally, experience freedom from dry, itchy eyes with Try Not to Die. Now, what you can say is something like this. So, while there may be something paranormal going on with your child, a lot of his experiences mirror the symptoms of schizophrenia. I suggest he get looked at by a doctor so we can know for sure, one way or the other. If it is schizophrenia, hooray! Great news, because there are licensed professionals all over that can help you through it. If it's not schizophrenia, then maybe the doctor can diagnose some other medical condition and help you through that. But if it's not medical at all, then we can proceed to pursue a paranormal route. And just like that, everyone is safe and I stay out of jail. Always start on Earth, guys. The worst thing you can do is ignore a possible medical condition and through that ignorance, worsen it. We have to consistently and consciously fight the urge to jump to paranormal conclusions. We must force our minds to stay on Earth as long as possible, exhausting every mundane explanation before moving on to the paranormal. Remember, as a paranormal investigator, your goal is to help the client, not to find a ghost. And the best way to help a client is to find the truth. And if you stop looking for a ghost long enough to properly consider possible medical conditions, you may just end up saving someone's life. But what about you? Have you had a paranormal experience that turned out to be medical? Please comment and share that experience down below so we can all benefit from that knowledge. Consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with all of your doctor friends. And don't forget to click that notification bell so you know when I post a new video. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Stay weird.